Hey folks, it's Greg and Janet, and today we are in Tonopah, Nevada, and we are at the Tonopah Mining Park. This is kind of a museum to mining history here in Nevada, and it is at a real mine. Everything here is original, still probably in working condition. But it's amazing. It dates back to the early 1900s, and we're going to check it out. We're actually going to get to look down into some slopes and into some mining caves, I guess you'd say, tunnels that are up to 1,200 feet deep.
Wow.
So let's go check it out. The original Mizpah mine here was actually founded by a man that he got upset at his mules and picked up a rock to throw at the mules. And when he picked up the rock, it was heavier than what he thought it should have felt. So he looked at it and thought, well, that's kind of curious. It looks a little different than a normal rock. So he had it assayed, and of course it was extremely high in silver content. Before that time, the people here that lived in Tonopah had no idea that there was silver in the ground here, and they were digging up a lot of the ore to make roadways for the city and not realizing that it contained silver, high concentrated silver. So this entire town of Tonopah, all of the roads were literally made of silver. Right here, this is a stope here. This area right here was all dug by hand, by pickaxes, possibly some dynamite, I'm not sure, but you can still see a lot of the supports in the ground here. But this was all silver ore that was pulled out of here by local civilians here. They weren't part of big mining firms, but they were doing their part to create a better life for themselves. And then at midnight, on a certain day, at midnight, all mining had to stop here because the mine was being sold to a larger firm. But you could see the hole. This hole actually goes down 500 feet. 500 feet, no elevators. Men would make their way down there by hand, just to hammer out ore, to bring silver back up to the surface. Let's see this side over here. It's kind of spooky standing on top of this. My goodness, that's a deep hole. We're going to go down here and see the burrow tunnel. This must be a tunnel where the burros would pull ore out of the mines. We're going to take a look at this burrow tunnel. These burros would work long shifts like the miners would here in the mines, and they would work in near pitch black conditions. They would work down in the mines where it was pitch black, and then they'd come out into the blazing hot sun, and usually it would take 2 to 3 weeks, and the burros would go blind from the sun burning their retinas. From then on, they would have to be led out by a miner, led back in by a miner, because they had no eyesight at all. But without the burros, mining at the level that they were doing at this point in time would not have been possible. Wow. This is really cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it is cool.
Golly, they did some work on this. That's some serious, it's like granite.
Yeah, look at that spike in there. But that's in there solid too, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at a spike here Janet just pointed out to me, and I ain't pulling that thing out. There's no way.
Come on, baby. At least it's cool in here. Huh?
Yeah, it's nice in here. All right, we're walking out onto a cage here, and we're going to be looking down. Goodness. Wow. Janet, if that last one made you nervous, this one's going to make you pee your pants. All right. I'm going to hold the camera straight down here. Hopefully you guys can see this. That's looking down out of the bottom of the cage. That open stope goes down about 1,000 feet. If you were to fall, that's like falling 100 stories straight down. That is crazy. Yeah, there's another drill bit there. See that there? That's what they would use. They would hammer that in, hit it with a sledgehammer, turn it 1/8 of a turn, hit it again, turn it 1/8 of a turn, hit it again, just over and over again until they created a hole like that one right there. Then they would place their dynamite inside that hole and light it up and blow that rock to smithereens to get to the ore. And right over here, I've seen one of those before on a different mine tour that we took. This drill right here is what's known as the Widowmaker. And that drill right there would be operated by one man drilling. That's after they got rid of the sledgehammers. They would use those type of drills to drill these holes here into the rock surface. Problem was, every once in a while those things would get stuck, and when they would get stuck, that thing would fire back at you and literally take your arm off, take your shoulder off. I mean, it would just maim you, and that's why it was called the Widowmaker. That was a dangerous, dangerous piece of machinery to operate. All right. Ooh, there's a safe. What's left of one, a safe door. There's an anvil there. Reminds me of Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. Bunch of anvils. Here's something having to do with ore processing. They pulled millions and millions and millions of dollars in silver out of this mine. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of these buildings are closed right now, so we won't be able to go in many of them. Hopefully we'll be able to go in a few of them, but we'll see. I'm gonna take a look at these cages real quick, folks. These are the elevators that you would take down into the mine. That right there was your elevator. You'd ride in one of those rascals. That just looks way too sketchy for me to go up 1 or 2 floors, let alone go down 1,000 or 1,200 feet. Now for something that's really gonna blow your mind. This is making me very nervous. But here you go. My goodness. Now tell me that ain't scary right there.
It totally disappears, man. Like, seriously. Wow. Making my legs shake. Yeah, hold on. I don't like heights. It's not too good at heights.
There you go. Okay. So the cables that they used to pull these cages up are right up here. You see them. They're actually flat cables. Never seen cables like that before, but they are actually flat.
They kept a man on payroll just to keep making those, because you know they get worn out.
Those flat steel cables.
Handmade.
It's amazing. Wow.
And it goes all the way in here. You can see it up close right here. Daddy. Hi, Daddy.
Hi, Jan.
Tell you about that cable. Look at that cable right above you.
Oh yeah, this is a piece of that steel cable. That's amazing. That is flat cable. Isn't that strange? I've never seen one like that. This is all the original workings of this hoist house. Look at the size of those gears. Wow, you can see the cable all rounded up in there. Yeah, it's crazy. Look at the size of those gears. Give you an idea just how big these are. That's my hand. Could you? I'd like to see the tools that they worked on this stuff with. So this is where the operator sat here, obviously. Yeah, he had a window. He had a window where he could see directly out where the elevator shafts were, the cage shafts. So he could see the cage going up and down. Do you notice the size of that belt behind you, Jen? Yeah. That's crazy. They got a heater over here to keep it warm, keep them warm while they're working during the winter. It's basically a steel barrel. So this was the air compressor. This is what supplied the miners air.
That's amazing.
I'm going to show you how big these are, though. That's my hand. That bolt would be the width of my hand. If you get a chance to make it out here, man, this is definitely worth seeing. There's some of the drill bits for the Widowmakers. I mean, this thing, this is the top of, this is at the height at the top of my head right here. So this drill bit is a good 6 foot 2 inches tall. Here's the framing building. That's their pulley system up there. They got a tent set up in here. It's an office area. So this is set up like a working office would have been at that time. Got a steel frame bed over there. Man, there's a lot to see here. And it's a shame. I worked all my life with tools, and I can't tell you what 90% of these tools actually are. There's some Widowmakers. You couldn't pay me enough. Could not pay me enough to operate one of those machines. I've heard too many horror stories about those Widowmakers. Seen photos of what it'll do to people when they kick back. It's not pretty. There's not much left of a person after they get hit with that thing. All right, this was the powder magazine from 1902 to 1948. This is where they kept the dynamite. This is where the dynamite was stored. And I sure hope there's none left in here with me. Wow. Look at how crooked over the years. Look at how crooked the framing has gotten on this building. This is level. My camera is level. You can see how crooked everything is, even on the back side. My camera is perfectly level. And that ceiling joist there is, it's off by a good 20 degrees maybe. And the train would come in here, and these chutes right above my head would dump the ore into the train cars. Oh, we got a kitty cat up there. You like scared me to death up here, kitty cat. What you doing? It appears there are still residents here. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Hit the little bell up in the corner for notifications. please share these videos. And would you like to add anything, pretty lady?
Let's see. Thank you, folks. See you real soon, okay?